So, how do you lead when you literally can't see the horizon? It's the question every single leader is asking themselves right now. Today, we're going to break down a framework that's designed for exactly that, leading straight through uncertainty.
For decades, leaders relied on a very specific playbook. It was all about long-term forecasting, static 5-year plans, and this constant search for certainty. But in today's world, that playbook is completely broken. It's just too rigid, it's way too slow, and it fails big time when ambiguity is the new normal.
And this brings us right to the big question, doesn't it? The one that might be keeping you up at night. How in the world do you make decisions, motivate your team, and actually move forward when the future is just a blur? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into right now.
The answer, according to the source material we're looking at, really centers on a single, powerful new requirement for every modern leader, and that is resilience. But, and this is a big but, probably not in the way you're used to thinking about it.
Okay, now what's really interesting about this slide is the redefinition. We always hear resilience talked about as bouncing back from a setback, right? This is different. This is about actively leading through the unknown, about navigating the fog in real time. It's an offensive capability, not just a defensive one. It's a game changer.
And this slide just perfectly captures that massive mindset shift. We're moving away from those rigid plans and that, let's be honest, desperate need for certainty, and we're moving toward dynamic adaptation. It's about becoming comfortable, even effective, while you're navigating ambiguity.
So, okay, how do you actually do this? The framework lays out 3 absolutely crucial shifts. The very first one is all about stability. You have to find your anchor.
This is such a powerful psychological tool for you and your team. When everything feels like it's in flux, it naturally triggers fear and uncertainty. A resilient leader's job isn't to pretend they have a crystal ball, but to deliberately shine a spotlight on what isn't changing.
You anchor your team in these North Star constants, things like your core values, your mission, and your focus on the customer. These things don't change month to month. They provide that bedrock of stability your team needs to move forward with real confidence. So once you're anchored in that stability, the second shift is all about action. And this means changing your entire relationship with planning and perfection. You have to speed up learning. His coaches says it all, doesn't it? In a volatile world, waiting for perfect information before you act isn't just slow, it is a trap. By the time you feel like you have 100% clarity, the moment is gone. The goal can't be the perfect strategy anymore. Instead of chasing that perfect strategy, the new goal is to have the fastest learning. And you do this through what's called a learning loop. You run small, thoughtful experiments. You get immediate feedback. You learn from the little failures, treating them like valuable data. And crucially, you incorporate those lessons right away. This doesn't just improve your strategy, it completely transforms failure from something to be afraid of into a sign of progress.
All right, our third and final shift is maybe the most counterintuitive one for navigating uncertainty. You have to consciously choose momentum.
Just look at that equation on the screen. Momentum is greater than clarity. Now, this goes against so much traditional business teaching, where we're told over and over again to get clarity before we take action. This framework just completely flips the script on that.
The core idea here is actually pretty simple. In a low-visibility environment, standing still is the most dangerous thing you can do. Taking small, measured steps forward, even if the path isn't perfectly clear, is so much better. Why? Because every single step builds momentum, and that forward energy is exactly what you need to push right through the fog.
So let's bring these 3 shifts together now. They aren't just separate tactics, They form a cohesive leadership philosophy, a whole new North Star to guide you and your team through any storm.
So here it is. This is your resilient leadership playbook. First, you anchor your team in what is constant. Second, you learn at high speed through experimentation. And third, you move with deliberate momentum. Anchor, learn, move.
And that brings us to our final thought. The fog of uncertainty. It will eventually lift. It always does. So the question you need to ask yourself is this. When it does, where will your leadership have taken you and your team? Will you be standing still, waiting for a clarity that never came? Or will you have moved forward, learned along the way, and emerged stronger on the other side? The choice is yours.